Hello and welcome to 37B. We're talking about the midpoint formula. So the midpoint formula is going to be the formula that tells us the halfway point between this point and this point. And either one of the points could be the first point, either one could be the second point. When you have 2 points here, and let's say for whatever reason you want to find the point that's exactly halfway, the midpoint is that point. Now, in order to find that point, what we do is we take our x values, x1 and x2, we add them together and divide by 2. And the y values, and we add them together and divide by 2, and that gives us our x value and our y value, which those are the actual coordinates we'd put together. Now, I know that in the distance formula, we subtracted. So let me tell you why that does not work for, or illustrate why that doesn't work for the midpoint formula. If I were to take, let's say in this case, we're going to do our x's. Let's say in this case that our x is 4 here and 10 here, right, for whatever reason. If we take these and subtract them, we are going to get the distance between 4 and 10. So 4 minus 10, that would be, the absolute value of that would be 6, right? So 6 is the distance, and if we divide that by 2, to get the halfway point, then we get 3. 3 is the halfway point between 4 and 10. It is half the distance between 4 and 10, but it is not the coordinate. We would have to take this 3 and add it to 4 to get 7. 7 would be the coordinate that we want to find because it is exactly halfway between 4 and 10. However, if we take the 2 coordinates, 4 and 10, and we add them together and divide it by 2, we get 7. We get the actual coordinate that we're looking for because the process of adding them together, it involves finding the location, not just the distance. The distance is from one to the other. So that needs to be subtraction. But finding the actual location, we need to have those values give us that spot. And adding does that for us. When we add the 2 together, it keeps the location within the problem. So we don't have to then do a secondary step of adding it back to one of the other locations. And it also keeps us from having the problem of, okay, well, which number do I add it to? Because if we added 3 to the 10, that would not be halfway between 4 and 10. That would be past it. We could only add it to the first one, so we would have to keep that straight. This eliminates all of that problem. It already adds it back to the appropriate location or the appropriate x value. It marks it for us with the coordinate, and it keeps us from having to figure out which coordinate we need to add that value to. So that is why the addition works as opposed to the subtraction. So this is the midpoint that or the midpoint formula that you want to use when you have to find the midpoint between 2 points. So this is what we're going to use in our practice problem, 37.4. So let's do it right here. 37.4. We have 2 points. We have -2 and 6, and we have 4 and -10. So we want to find the midpoint between those 2 points. So very easily, we're going to use this formula here. I'm going to call this one my point 1 and this one my point 2, just because they're left or right. You could do it either way, and I think I'll just go ahead and do both of those either way. So x is equal to -2 plus 4 divided by 2, which is going to be 2 divided by 2 is 1. Y, using P1 and P2, would be 6, and we have a -10, so that negative carries over the plus sign. Remember, it's plus negative 10, so that would be 6 minus 10. So it would be negative 4 divided by 2, that would be negative 2, right? So my coordinate would be 1 and negative 2. Well, let's try it if I did the reverse, and this was P2 and this was P1. So this is my P2 and this is my P1. So x is equal to 4 minus 2 divided by 2. That would be 2 divided by 2 would be equal to 1. And my y would be negative 10 plus 6 divided by 2, which would be negative 4 divided by 2, which would be negative 2. So I still have, even though I swap the points, I still have the same coordinate as the midpoint between the two of them. And that's all we have for lesson 37B, the midpoint formula. So write this down if you haven't already written it on the back cover of your notebook or somewhere easily accessible. That is what you're going to use to find the midpoint between 2 points every single time. And it's pretty straightforward. And if you have any questions, let me know, but you should be able to do this rather easily. And I'll see you in lesson 38.